Good evening, Dr.R. This is Ernesta Vincent, and I am conducting my Capstone project with 3 guests of mine. Well, my first guest, please come up and introduce yourself. Right here? Is that it?
Jacqueline Garcia.
Thank you. Second person? Go. That's really cute. Yeah, come this way. Just say your name. Rihanna, come on.
Rihanna.
Thank you. Brother, next.
Roberto Garcia.
Okay. Awesome. So these 3 will be my, what would you call them? My fan club for the day as I present them my capstone project. So thank you guys for coming today, spending some time with me on my project. Let me actually get in the camera view. Okay. I had to do this project for school. It's for law. I know you guys are in different careers, so it might be a bit boring. Yes, I had to dress up, but it's all worth it. So today I'm going to be expressing to you the parole system and it's necessary for the justice system. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of the justice system, everything that goes down, but I'll try to elaborate and make it easy to understand so you guys don't get lost. So I had to do a 15-page paper, so this is me breaking down the paper so you guys understand. Feel free to ask questions while you guys are sitting here. All right. Please ask questions while you're sitting here. Okay. This is my intro. The parole system is a necessary part of the justice system. The correctional system faces many problems. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that, but our justice system, our correctional system is very important. Drug possession, improperty, and violent offenders are the most frequent causes of arrest and incarceration. So what that is meaning is basically that people that are doing nonviolent crimes, getting in trouble for petty drugs, are the ones mostly filling up our facilities, our prisons, our jails, and it's just wasting up space. I'm not sure if you guys have been watching the news lately, what overpopulated in the immigration process right now, how the cells look with the kids and the parents. That's pretty much the same, almost the same concept of everybody in one building. Underfunding, understaffing, and overcrowding in prisons can slowly change with the help of parole. The parole system has many benefits and is one of the most effective methods in the justice system. The parole system enables inmates to serve part of their sentence in prisons while the rest is spent outside the vicinity of prisons. Meaning, if someone has 25 with no parole, they won't be eligible for whatever reason of that crime they did. But if they are eligible for parole, what happens, what parole does is, instead of doing the whole sentence in prison, they can do the last 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, doing something else outside of prison. So they're not swarmed in that box all day. All right. Other examples of the transition prisoners back into community and back into their families, which is another good point of parole. Other benefits of parole is it helps reduce prison populations, save the government lots of money that can be used for many other things as improving prisons' conditions and their staff. Incarcerating inmates is a lot of money. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. It's a lot of taxpaying dollars and the government is using it for horrible reasons, and they can find a way to actually adjust that and use it towards parole, which will help them actually balance out a better budget. I'm going to break down a little bit of history of parole. In the 1800s, parole was established as a second chance opportunity for citizens who got in trouble with the law. Like everyone here, everyone knows a second chance, maybe third chance. That's the whole concept of parole. The parole system over the next century was doing very well and had things under control. So it was running smoothly, it was nice, but of course, things got out of control. In order for someone to be granted parole, they are done by a strict panel. Like you guys are a panel, but you guys are my audience right now. Interviews are held for each prisoner, followed by recommendations by a warden. So you have, like I said, you have to be approved for parole. That's the only way you can stand in front of a parole board to get approved. There's factors in this. Factors such as nature of the crime done by the prisoner, their participation while being incarcerated, their behavior, past record, and etc. So in order to be, like I said, granted parole, they're going to go through everything, your behavior, your crimes, everything in one. Parole decisions are made with due concentration of jurisdiction. So every state is different. Not every parole board is going to be the same. It's not going to have the same people. It's not one state. Every state's going to be different. And then lastly, the most importantly, a vote by the parole board is needed to seal the deal. So they need a majority vote. So pretty much everyone has to agree. Everyone has to agree. It's not going to be 1 to 2, 2 to 3. Everyone is going to have to agree. Violent offenders have a high likelihood of being denied parole compared to non-violent offenders due to their threat to society. So if you have a heavy case like Ted Bundy, mass murder, you won't be granted parole. That's just not going to happen. Once a prisoner is granted parole, they are followed by strict requirements. These requirements will consist of rules such as curfew or even paying fees and fines. They are also provided one of 3 forms of supervision. You have minimum, regular, and intensive. Meaning there's different levels of how protective they're going to be of you once you're outside. Everybody's going to be different. Someone who broke into cars is not going to be as strict as someone that got into a fight and bashed someone's face in. So it's going to be different. Minimum, which is the mean, requires little level of reporting supervision. Regular is pretty much a medium level where they have parole officers, and on the regular they must meet up with them. I'm sure you guys seen it on movies. It's almost the same concept. And for intensive level, they have strict reporting and supervision. So that one's a little bit more intense. It's not the best, but you still have the opportunity to be outside and not inside a prison cell. The use of electronic monitoring devices such as ankle devices are used as requirements offenders must wear under parole boards. So I'm not sure if you guys ever see ankle monitors on people in the street. They have to wear those as one of the requirements as being out on parole. Some offenders have random drug testing they must complete on the regular. Types of testing methods that are performed are oral fluids, so they have swab tests, blood, urine, and hair. That's just to name a few. If an offender is found breaking the rules to their agreement, such as having toxins in their body, they have violated the term of parole and are immediately placed back in prison. So the second chance is really a second chance. You can't mess up after that. Maybe you have a better parole officer than another that will help you out, but you don't want to mess up. But it's still a given opportunity for parolees to be out. Let's not be locked up. Yes. Yes.
So if you go back, are you allowed to go for parole again?
Yes, you may be granted parole again. It depends, like I said, on the circumstances and what you have broken. Sometimes it won't. Maybe you'll have to finish out your sentence back inside. But like I said, parole is supposed to be the second chance, so you have to nip it in the bud the first time. If you have a better parole officer who can probably weigh the line, then maybe, yes. Parole terms and requirements aren't easy, but it's a privilege and a second chance to get things right for many offenders. They have freedom, which remains as a helpful, necessary part of the justice system. Parole will continue to remain a necessary part of the justice system when you calculate the amount of money that is spent in incarceration alone. So I'm going to quote some facts. In 2007, the total cost of incarceration reached $182 billion in the United States of America, as the country is spending more money compared to other nations keeping their criminals incarcerated. This is a credited source from Equal Justice Initiative 2007 from a news source website. I have to do that. All right. Another fun fact, around 60% of the prisons are filled with non-violent offenders, which means a significant amount of government spending is used for keeping non-threatening offenders in prison. Also, Scholarly Journal from Scarlett Warner and Gupa, 2010. So as you can see, we're wasting a lot of money just keeping people in there, but they're not even comfortable. And they're not even harmless. Some are really not harmless. They just need a second chance. By providing nonviolent and low-risk offenders with the parole opportunity can help the government reduce spending a cost by a lot. Exploring parole and putting an effective use to it for many considering offenders will open doors to other trouble areas in the correctional system, especially overcrowding. As I mentioned before, immigration is facing that heavily. They did not plan for this. I personally believe they need to take a step back and hold off on detain immigrants and finish the issue that's inside because kids are alone and parents are alone. America has a long history of overcrowded prisons. Fun fact, the criminal justice system holds around 2.3 million Americans in state prisons, federal prisons, juvenile prisons, correctional facilities, local jails. This adds even women as well. This is a credited source from Stewart and Warner, 2019. Parole can be effective in reducing the prison population. These are the open door opportunities for many low-risk offenders. Treating and rehabilitating and helping eligible offenders back in society starts somewhere, and overcrowded facilities can benefit from it. The prison facilities will witness a decline in their numbers. So, like I mentioned before, put better use to money, parole is that step. Parole helps everyone. Imprisonment limits people's freedom, liberty, and the chance to pursue their dreams. But parole is all part of restoring all the rights that have been stripped to many offenders. So I'm a big fan of second chances, so parole is very effective. Society is a bit judgmental about inmates being released into the community. It's okay to have mixed feelings. Some perceived offenders will reoffend, but not everyone is the same. Do you guys believe people will reoffend if they committed a crime once? Depends. Okay. Likely. Okay. Well, society has a big, if and but about that. This is why parole is not used as much as it needs, because they believe they're going to reoffend, so they don't give them a chance. So they just say, no, that's it. You're going to reoffend, but that's not fair. Everyone deserves a second chance. With an intensive parole board, parole officers on constant monitoring and the help of drug testing methods and ankle monitors, the effectiveness of parole can work and has also worked for many. I'm going to use my source as being a correctional officer. I've seen a couple of inmates go on parole, and some of them are still out, and I'm not even a correctional officer anymore, so the chance to actually go back and redo your childhood or be with your family, it can happen. Some people do change. I remember he was doing haircuts in our facility, and I believe now that he was out, he went there. There's education in the facilities, so he continued his education, and he got a CDL license, so now he's driving trucks. So I ran into him at a gas station. It wasn't fun, but it's good to know that people can have a second chance at life. All right, parole helps in the risk of reoffending when they have parole officers helping them defend the odds, which parole officers require offenders to follow directions. So officers play an important role as well. With parole, they're able to be a mentor to these people. It's hard to find a mentor when you've been damaged at a young age or been at the wrong place, wrong time. So having strong officers benefits this, because not everyone had that role model or parent figure to give them rules and directions. So parole benefits them on that. Parole also provides targeted support to offenders in drug counseling and several forms of assistance programs. So parole is not just strict rules and you follow it, and if you don't, you go back. They actually help you deeper. Counseling, drug issues, addicts. There's a lot of addicts that are in there who are non-criminal offenders, and they need help as well. So what parole does is it's not just, okay, we hate you, that's it, get out and do what you do. There's going to be programs to help assist them get them back into rehabilitating. Breaking old drug habits can be redirected to help offenders start a new life. Drug habits are not easy to break, but it's a start somewhere when you have a support group. Instead of imprisoning offenders for the entire period of the sentences, it is beneficial in the sense that offenders can get the chance to change their behaviors for the better once granted the privilege of parole. It saves the government money and it improves the overall conditions of prisons by reducing an expensive population, and offenders can transform into responsible citizens that request the law again. This is the closing ending of my report, so I hope I've elaborated what parole is and what you guys can understand from it. I'm a big fan of second chances, like I've been saying the whole time throughout this thing. Working as a correctional officer, I can see the difference of people that do get a second chance and people that don't. So that is my alarm. Sorry, Dr.R. But do you guys have any further questions I may help you with? Yes, Jackie?
Do you think that with parole officers there would be some improvement? Since you said it's such a big impact.
This goes back to funding. In order to have a healthy staff, you have to pay them right as well. If you don't have a well-paid staff, people getting paid horribly, then you have inmates they have to take care of who aren't good themselves. It's all a collage. So you have to put your budgeting in something productive, which is parole. I find it very productive. And if officers were getting treated correctly, and there was seasonal checkups, and everybody was going through therapy or something like that, I feel that yes, officers can be better and they can help in any way. Anybody else?
For how long do you have parole?
The remainder of parole is usually the end of your sentence. I don't know if you remember earlier. Let's say you have 25 to life, you get parole when you have 19 years already in. So you have to finish the last bit of it. If you have good parole, they say you're doing good in prison, you're working, you're helping out, then you're all out, however your level of your crime was, then you'll finish it out outside, and you'll be able to finish your crime outside without going back to prison. Anyone else? All right, that's it. Woo! Woo!